why would we be told these things from birth that we live on a ball if we don't?
Yeah,
Right?
that is the big question, and the answer is so incredibly powerful once you finally come to realize it. And it's because the ruling elite families that know where we live do not want us to realize our true potential. We are not just these random specks of dust that, a monkey farted and here we are. We are incredibly powerful spiritual beings. And I don't want to scare people away by saying that. But the way they disconnect us from our power is they keep us in fear with all these false flags and utter nonsense and shortages. They keep us locked in a prison. We live on a ball. There is no more. Imagine there's so many reasons, but imagine with all of the nonsense that's going on in the United States alone right now, if you found out that there was other lands out there with other people that you've never even heard of, without tyrannical governments that you could go to and live in freedom, do you think there would be a mass exodus? There's a book called that you can't find anymore. It's called The Iron Republic. If you look up for it on YouTube, there's a couple people reading it about a New York politician that was sick of the system up here. I think it was in the late 1800s, early 1900s, or somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that. And he got a boat and a crew, and they went to Antarctica, and they found an opening in what he thought was the continent. And they went through, and they came out into this other ocean, were lost for months, and then they came across another land, and a boat came out to meet them. And the guy said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "We're from the America." And he goes, "Well, you're at the Iron Republic." And the guys on the boat said, "Where is that?" And he said, "It's equally distant from the Antarctic ice wall that you are, but we're just on the other side." And it's a whole amazing short story about their adventure out there.
So it's like instead of space holding these other possible races and species and all this other stuff, you're saying it could be in our own world here, just outside of the wall of Antarctica?
So right now they're pushing the big alien agenda. They're brainwashing the crap out of us to believe in aliens and stuff. I mean, we're supposed to believe that extraterrestrials are traveling billions of miles, light years. We'll talk about light years in a second, coming here and then crashing in New Mexico. Or perhaps if there are aliens visiting us, I call them extraterrestrials. They come from the extra terra. Terra is land. Extraterrestrials that come from beyond Antarctica. They're coming 10,000 miles, maybe 5,000 miles, maybe 50,000 miles. They come here. They have technology that can traverse the ice, and they're living among us because they look just like us.
Because are they still human beings?
They're still human beings. There's runaway civilization. So I did a talk with Sophia Smallstorm. I'm not sure if you know who she is. She's a researcher that's done a lot on some of the other big conspiracies. And it's on my YouTube channel, DITRH, called The Outward Flow of Civilizations. And basically what it says is, all of these Atlantis and all these other ancient civilizations, they disappeared. Where did they go? And my theory is that they flowed outwards. As our sun migrated outwards, they followed it, and they just kept going outwards. So the ice wall, the ice shoreline, the ice ring that is Antarctica moved outwards, and they went out with it. And there's core, they do ice core samples in Antarctica, and they're finding tropical climates, tropical past below the ice. So these people moved out with that ring. The center ring moved out, and these civilizations are in these different rings. Again, it's hard to visualize it, but I have a video talk with the images. It's called The Outward Flow of Civilizations, and it's on the DITRH YouTube channel.
Okay, but so let's say you're talking about, like the tides and the ocean waves and that sort of thing. Wouldn't that be dictated by the moon in the sky?
Yeah, that I'm just writing a note to remember to talk about light years. Okay. So this is the official story is if you imagine the globe in front of you and the moon above it, and we're told that the moon pulls the water on the top part of the globe towards it, wherever the moon is. We'll just call that the top. It bulges towards it. But there's also another high tide on the bottom of the globe. And that's because the moon is also pulling the Earth up and away from the water that's below it. I mean, that should sound utterly ridiculous, but that's the official story. When in fact, the reason that there's tides with salt water and not fresh water is because the tides are caused by an electromagnetic, for lack of a better word, tug of our electric sun and moon system. And they pull the water as it moves around. And the reason that we have bigger tides when the moon is full is because that's when the moon is powered up. Think about this. We have a new moon, which means it's just not lit up by the sun's reflection, but it's still there. Why isn't the tide just equally as big? Because the gravity's still there. It's the amount of energy that the moon is producing, the electromagnetic field. I jump forward here. The moon is not reflected sunlight. The moon is its own light. Next time you see the full moon, take a good look at it, and you'll see that the light is even all the way around it.
Right.
If it was reflected sunlight, you'd have a hot spot, you'd have faded edges. It's not the case at all.
So you say the moon is a light source unto itself?
Yeah, it is, but I believe, and I don't have proof of this, but there's lots of evidence that the sun is like a giant Tesla coil, and it is lighting up the moon. So depending on the position of the sun, the moon is getting that electricity and lighting up, just like a Tesla coil would light up a fluorescent bulb.
Okay, well, what about, like, for example, a few months ago we had a total eclipse. Isn't that the shade of the Earth kind of coming across the moon and the sun? Again,
just anytime you come up with one of these things that you think proves the Earth, just think back and say, who told you that? And it's Bill Nye, the scientism guy.
Well, our school.